Well, I probably should have commented on this before, but I might as well say it now and get this out of the way. Now, a few more people have actually resigned under the Donald Trump administration from Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis and General uh, Edwin McGurk or something like that, Brett McGurk. So, with that being said, I think it's safe to say that a lot of people are really, really having a problem with the U.S. troops withdrawing from Syria, and the numbers are being of U.S. troops are being reduced in Afghanistan, which is a tall tale sign that the troops will come home safe and sound, and we no longer have to get ourselves involved in countries that we had um, no business being in the first place. Now, unfortunately, the one bad side to it is that Turkey is planning on invading Syria, from what I heard and read, and that is a very problematic factor because this is only going to be a deterrent for having a more prosperous future. And Turkey, it's a known fact that they have funded ISIS. Only one thing is that I was under the impression that Turkey was going to start becoming the good guy, and I thought maybe they were going to switch sides because I remember when Vladimir Putin had the inauguration, and he when he inaugurated the mosque in Moscow, uh, the president of the Palestinian president Abbas, he even attended the inauguration of the mosque, and even the president of Turkey Erdogan attended the inauguration of the mosque, and even the president of Iran, I believe, showed up as well. And of course, Vladimir Putin was there to present the whole occasion. He inaugurated the mosque. And I thought, since the president of Turkey was there, I thought maybe this would be a tall tale sign that he would start to form an alliance with Vladimir Putin, and maybe that this would mean that he might start to switch sides. But I know that Qatar was in cahoots with Saudi Arabia, but apparently, since the beginning of uh, the election of Donald Trump as president elect, Qatar was no longer sides with side having alliance with Saudi Arabia because they kind of separated themselves. I think there was some kind of conflict with the political relationship from also what once again what I heard. And Qatar and Saudi Arabia, of course, is known for funding ISIS. They're probably number one in the Middle East for doing so. And I think Qatar was in on it, and I think they wanted out. So I think because of that, this is why like they're no longer on good terms with one another. But but to be honest with you, I think this is right before New Year's Eve, and the fact. But my point is, I wanted to get back to the original point that when it comes to the U.S. troops being withdrawn from the Middle East, the numbers in Afghanistan being reduced and being withdrawn from Syria, I think this is a tall tale sign that we are off to a good start for the new year in 2019, which is really literally right around the corner. Starting from next week, we're gonna be into the new year, and I think this is good for all of us. And I'm really really looking forward to seeing what else unfolds in the Trump administration. And there are a lot of things there are some things that I honestly didn't agree with when it comes to Donald Trump and the administration. But so far, from what I've heard, since he actually did that, that was not only a smart move as far as politics are concerned, but this was a way of preventing the U.S. from shelling out more money because the reparations are becoming more and more expensive, and we don't need uh, to go to wars with other countries or be getting ourselves involved in other countries' political affairs. And this is only going to put us more into debt. So I think that's a smart move, and hopefully, by the end of his first term, Donald Trump will pull out every single U.S. soldier from the Middle East, every single country in the Middle East. That even includes Libya and Iraq, Somalia, so on and so forth, and there are too many countries, countries that have been stationed by U.S. troops. I mean, there are still U.S. troops stationed in Germany. Um, I don't see why that is. Uh, we're not at war with Germany or anything like that anymore. That was like World War II. So I think that it's just best that we as Americans we just stay in our own country so that we can actually defend ourselves instead of invading other countries left and right. And I think the military-industrial complex has spent enough money to build their military defense, which was $300 billion or $300 million a year. So it is enough, and I think that this is going to be a start of something new. And when you stop to think about it, the only time that the United States has never been into war was during the 1980s. Technically, you can say they have secretly been into war because they've actually aided Afghanistan against the war in the Soviet Union. So I think it's definitely safe to say, without a shadow of a doubt, that with less war, there might be more peace. We'll see. And I think looking back on it, I mean, this is a nice way of honoring the War Powers Resolution Act, which means that within a 60-day deadline, with a deadline within 60 days, that means that all the troops have to be pulled out. And this was under the Richard Nixon administration. So I think this is a lovely redux of the War Powers Resolution Act that was passed under the Richard Nixon administration, where the troops have to be pulled out of the countries within 60 days. So I think this is definitely going to be good. I consider this like a redux in some way. So anyway, thank you guys for watching my video, and I hope you guys enjoyed your Christmas, for all you guys who celebrated Christmas. And Happy New Year. Take care.